Good evening, and welcome to the North Rock School Board's board meeting, where Dr. Gregory Pulaski is our proud superintendent. At this time, North Rock Public School procedures for public comments. Citizens who desire to speak during public comments must sign in prior and will be called to the podium. Public comments is not a question and answer period. And as such, school board members and the superintendent do not respond to public comments during a meeting. Further, citizens will have no more than 3 minutes to speak per Arkansas Code 6-13-619. Will not be allowed to make comments that shall prejudice the board of directors concerning student or personnel matters that could come before the board for disciplinary or employment consideration, or that in conflict with other district policy of law. If you do not follow these procedures, you will be asked to take your seat. Without further comments, Mr. Jimmy Caven, you may come forward.
Good evening, board. I want to brag on Mr. Tracy Steele, which is really something coming from me. But last Thursday night at the board hearing for Tan Howard, Tracy really stood up and did what was right. He did what the rest of you should have done. He called it what it is, and he publicly announced that Tan should get an apology from the district. Ms. West, Ms. Redis, Ms. Williams, Ms. Wankum, and Ms. McLean, what you effectively did is you turned your back on Tan, which means you turned your back on every employee in this district. You chose not to hear the facts, and you chose not to hear her voice. And you left her in tears, but they weren't tears of defeat. They were tears of resolve and strength. In fact, you're not the only show in town. You may choose not to follow state law. You may choose not to do what's right. But the Public Licensure Standard Board with the Arkansas Department of Education has launched an investigation into Jacob Smith for violating policy and federal law. They have also launched an investigation into Michelle Wilson Blakely for her orchestrated false accusations against Tan. The difference between that board and their investigation division and you all is they're going to do what's right. And you won't be able to hide the documents and records from them that you've hidden from Tan. They'll get those records, and they're going to see the accountability is done while y'all sit silent. Again, you turned your back on every employee in this district, all to protect Superintendent Greg Pulaski and his administration. I hope y'all will reflect on that, because it's very unbecoming. Now I'm going to read an email that Crestwood Principal Connie Bamberg sent to Tracy Steele, Cindy Temple, Greg Pulaski, Jacob Smith, and Tori Hooper. Said a member of the community came to me this morning and informed me I was a topic of discussion at a local church Sunday. This person overheard a conversation Natalie Wankum was having with one staff member.
Excuse me, Mr. Kadam.
I'm not talking.
We do not need to repeat people's names.
I'm talking about a public elected official.
Ms.
Wankum, how is that, and I'm going to use the word blank, principal of yours. She then made some comments about me and the school and ended by saying, I don't know why Pulaski hasn't fired her yet, but I'm going to get that taken care of. I find this not only highly inappropriate of a board member, but I believe Ms. Wankum's words and behavior are both unethical and slanderous. For Wankum as a member of the school board to discuss a school employee in a local...
Time is up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Common practice for you, though, right, Natalie? Common practice.
Thank you. You're excused. Mr. Richard Tatum.
Dr. Paluski and the board, thank you very much for having me here. I'm going to hold the mic because I'm a little bit taller. Hopefully this won't be as contentious, but I do have a concern that I would like to have addressed by the board in some form. There is a story that I've heard, and of course I don't like rumor any more than you do, so this would be an opportunity to clear this up. But I've been hearing stories about extracurricular teams being charged fees to use district facilities for their teams. Instance like basketball teams and cheer teams being charged $75 per practice to use a school facility. That's very disturbing to me, considering, one, that we allocated about $74,000 to a communications fund, and also there's been a millage before to help pay for these buildings, and we're about to ask for another one, and we're charging our kids to do extracurricular activities that service most of them and keep a lot of them out of trouble. So again, these are things I've heard. I do not know anything official. I have not seen anything official. This is me formally asking for something in official, I guess, presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tatum. At this time, we will have Miss or Mrs. Brandy Henson. Come on down.
Madam President, Dr. Paluski, members of the board, nice to see you again. I'm here tonight to support my kids' school, Amboy, and also to bring a couple of concerns as a teacher and also as a parent. So my concern tonight is about common formative assessments. There was a memo sent out recently stating a schedule for common formative assessments that were supposed to be given in a platform that teachers do not yet have access to. And the way that common formative assessments were described in that information memo is not accurate based on all of my experience as an educator. So the description given in the memo was actually more related to an interim assessment, where someone besides the classroom teacher is creating those assessments and giving them on a set schedule that may not necessarily align with what's actually happening in the classroom. So it was frustrating that our district administrators were sending out an information memo using fairly basic and standard educational terms incorrectly. Also, the platform that we're supposed to be giving those assessments in, DNA Renaissance, we still don't have access to. It's supposed to help us prepare students for Atlas, which is wildly different than ACT Aspire. The question types are completely different, and just having content knowledge is not really enough for our students to be successful. They really need experience in the question types that are related to that. So we really don't have the tools we need right now to prepare our students for Atlas, even though we just gave interim assessments for science. Another concern also related to Atlas is that the 6th grade campus had prepared. We knew that Atlas was going to be different, and we had a program that we used last year in a pilot, and we still currently don't have access to that, even though we've had a purchase order ready for several months and have been waiting for that to be fulfilled. So since we haven't had access to DNA Renaissance that we've been hearing about all year long and still can't get into, and also can't use the program that we were prepared to use, it's just been very frustrating. We felt like our hands are tied and that we have been not able to prepare our students adequately. And then from the parent side, I just know that when the teachers don't have the tools that they need to prepare students, students aren't going to be prepared. So even students who feel like they're doing well in the classroom and are normally very successful, they're going to get into these testing experiences and they're going to be very frustrated. They're going to feel very defeated because they've been successful. Why can't they also be successful on this? And it's because we're not being able to prepare them appropriately. So thank you for your time.
And thank you. If anyone came in late, it is always your privilege that if you would like to come at this time for public comment. Public comment. Public comment. There are no further public comments. I will officially call this meeting to order. And at this time, we shall have Ms. Colquitt to call the members of the board. The roll.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Mrs. Wonka.
Here.
Dr. Radish.
Here.
Mrs. McLean.
Here.
Mrs. Temple.
Here.
Ms. Person West.
Present.
And Mr.
At this time, we are very privileged to have a fifth grade student that is Mr. Pennington. And at this time, with Mr. Pennington, would you have your child to come up? There she is.
My friend Chloe.
Hi, my name is Chloe Pennington. Hi, my name is Chloe Pennington. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Stay there. Mr. Pennington, would you and your wife come up and take a picture with your daughter? Sure. And you can bring your son, your other child can come. And a very good job, young lady. Give her a hand. At this time, Ms. Temple, would you please do the vision and mission statements, please?
Yes, a vision statement, world-class schools for world-class students, and mission statement, North Little Rock School District and community will provide for achievement, accountability, acceptance, and the necessary assets in the pursuit of each student's educational success.
Recognition of people and events. Dr. P.
Madam President, as we do at every regular board meeting to showcase why we're here, which is about our students, I want to ask Mr. Pennington, the proud principal of Amboy Elementary School, for their student presentation to our Board of Education and our public. Welcome, Mr. Pennington.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bluski and the board. I stand here before you all extremely excited to present. I have students, I got loud now, but I will use the mic, thank you. I'm excited to present students from Amboy Elementary. They're going to talk to you all about some wonderful learning opportunities that they're doing collaboratively in math, in the math classroom. We have our wonderful fifth grade staff here joining us, and my amazing assistant principal, Ms. Steinbeck, and my amazing music teacher, Mrs. Pugh here. And they have a kind of dual presentation for you all, so get ready, okay? But we're learning some amazing things in math, and they're having an opportunity to collaborate and work together and just really kind of high leverage learning at Amboy. So we're excited. I'm going to yield the floor. I'm going to get out the way, y'all. I'm not a talker. I'm more of a singer, but I'm not a talker. So I yield the floor to Mrs. Kelly.
All right, my name is Trinita Kelly. I am the fifth grade math teacher at Amboy Elementary. We actually just finished up a module in addition and subtraction of fractions, and so we know that word problems can be a little tricky when it comes to students doing them on their own, and so I wanted to give the students an opportunity to collaborate together, working through some of those word problems, to give them an opportunity not only to learn from me but to learn from each other. And so they are going to discuss the project that we did and their roles in that project.
Hi, my role was the reporter. What I did was I would talk to in front of the class and tell them how we solved the problem and how we came up with the problem.
Good evening. My name is Gabriel Franco, and I'm here to tell you about the recorder job. So the role of this job was to write down and solve the problem together with all the rules combined. The impact on this learning was that it felt like the students were being listened to and actually being appreciate it by just writing down what they said and working together with all the rules in combination for this math activity. Thank you.
I was the timekeeper, and it was my job to tell them when it was 5 minutes or time was up, and without me, they would have went overtime or not finished the problem in time.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Grace Larison, and I was the facilitator. I kept everyone on track and focused about math.
Hi, my name is Olivia Keeney, and my role was the spy. The spy is one of the most important things because the spy is what made this fun. The spy's job was to sneak around and check everyone and basically look at everyone's work and see if my group missed anything. And if we did, I tell them, and they would write it down. The impact on my group was they would get an important piece of info, and for me, I feel like my role really fit my personality, and I really loved being a spy, and I really hope to do it again.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Pugh. I'm the music teacher at Amboy. I was blessed to, literally I went to Home Depot and asked them, hey, would you donate some buckets to our school? And they donated 60 buckets to our school. And all I had to do was ask. I couldn't believe it. So they donated 60 buckets to our school, and we have been learning bucket drumming. 4th and 5th grade have been doing bucket drumming, and they have loved it so much. We have been learning how to read music. We've been learning, music symbols, music notes, different things, how to count, how to read music, but also we've incorporated a little bit of science into it. Different parts of the bucket make different sounds because they're shaped differently in the air, and also putting a carpet on top of the bucket helps muffle the sound, and why is that, and that kind of thing. So we have incorporated a little bit of science. And we learned a song for the Hispanic Heritage Assembly a few weeks ago. And so we're going to play that song for you now. It's La Bamba by Richie Valens.
job. Okay, Mr. Barnes will take the pictures of the students, and then the parents will come up and take the picture with your parents. And the teachers.
Give me Steinbeck. Give me Steinbeck too.
Can y'all step? Let's do the students. Okay. Can y'all step up? Y'all behind me. Step up. No. Oh, okay. I thought you were standing. Move over. Y'all move over.
Let's give them another hand. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. YouTube or either Norfolk Special Channel.
So we're now in the special recognition portion of our board meeting, and we're first going to start with Baptist Health. Through the work of the Academies of Central Arkansas, the North Little Rock School District has engaged multiple community and industry partners. One partner has stepped up as an anchor in this endeavor, and we are incredibly thankful for all that they have done so far and all that they have committed to do in the future. Baptist Health is a named partner through the North Little Rock High School's Baptist Health and Human Services Academy and the Center of Excellence's Health and Human Services Academy. They have committed resources, time, and staff to this partnership so that the students of the North Little Rock School District will be future ready and prepared for careers in the healthcare industry. Students have already engaged with guest speakers this school year through a variety of career fields and departments at Baptist Health Spring Hill. Hospital tours and experiential learning events will take place this spring as well. We are incredibly thankful for President Cody Walker and his team of innovators and leaders that are here this evening as we work together to do what is best for all students in the North Little Rock School District.
So, also want to recognize Cody Walker is also one of our parents of a Crestwood student. Before I hand you this, is there anything you'd like to say?
Sure. As on behalf of Baptist Health, we couldn't be more excited to be a part of this partnership. Like Dr. Paluski said, I have a personal interest, but it's because I have a Crestwood Cougar at home and a scholar that we couldn't be more pleased with the education he's receiving. But more than anything, healthcare careers are in high demand, and the scholars that are participating in the Health Sciences Academy, we want to we want to help come alongside them and ensure that their education is one that is efficient and timely, and that they're exposed to all the careers that are involved in healthcare if they have such an interest. And so at Spring Hill Medical Center, Baptist North Little Rock, we have 330 different careers just underneath that one roof, and we want to make sure that students, if interested in health sciences, are exposed to those in a timely fashion. So thank you so much. We're excited.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. St. Louis, would you like to join us? Is there anybody from the Center of Excellence? Would you like to join us as part of your part of our high school program? Is there anybody from the Center of Excellence here to represent?
Next, we will recognize, salute Crestwood Elementary School. Crestwood Elementary School will receive $24,750 from the Arkansas School Recognition Program. This is a result largely based on the spring ACT Aspire results. The school is recognized for being in the top 6 to 10% in the student performance category. The Arkansas School Recognition Program awards up to $50 per student in all public schools in Arkansas for student performance or student academic growth. Will representatives from Crestwood Elementary School please come at this time?
Good job.
Next, we will recognize Lakewood Elementary School. Lakewood Elementary is now a B-rated school. Lakewood Elementary, congratulations. Lakewood Elementary School moved up a letter grade, which is largely based on last year's ACT Aspire results. The school has now returned to the letter grade that it had before COVID-19. But speaking to their students and staff and administrators, they will not be satisfied until they get an A. Last week, I had the honor and the privilege to spend my morning at Lakewood to put together a video to highlight the school's letter grade improvement. The video has gone viral, and I believe some of the reason is because of a fourth grader by the name of Alex Youngo, who's with us this evening, and he captivated us and inspired us all. Mr. Nana, will you please play that video?
After a lot of hard working and students being good, learning, I'm very, very happy that we're able to be. It's kind of going to help us get more motivated to even go higher. We're doing like low grades and we're like, you got 80%, you passed, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was definitely very exciting. I kind of felt like, what, we did work with it a little bit? I mean, we obviously worked a lot of it, but it kind of just made me feel like I was doing something to make a difference. It's a village, so we all work together every single day. We have the best admin we could possibly ask for. Let's take team collaboration and meeting together, talking about our kids and what we can do to push them further or to push them up from where they're at.
We did do all the work. I wanted my teachers, they needed to see that there was proof that everything we were doing was working. Because I was asking, I was in their classrooms every single day. And just being very visible, and I did, I just expected it.
When we were about in winter and going into spring, it was like the big thing. We had to pick it up. So last year in shop class, it was like my reading/literacy. We kind of started the most thing that we were prepared for was narrative writing. We did so much of that, and that definitely helped me and the rest of the class to get ready for the ACT Aspire. And for math, what we learned about creative properties, application, and that also helped us for the challenges there. We use all of our strategies and things. We ended up having 40% exceeding in math. So that means they were above grade level. So I actually went here from kindergarten all the way up to the end of 5th grade. So it just kind of feels like home, and it kind of makes me even more proud of where I came from.
You know, we serve a diverse population of kids, and so we're just looking at that continued growth of every single student.
They put work into that, and we also were able to have fun every now and then, and that kind of helped us push forward. And then we were able to get to ACT Aspire.
My weekly newsletter is first sentence is Lakewood Elementary is a school of excellence, and we will be a school. It's just a matter of getting there.
Hi.
Love it, love it, love it.
So, Ms. Boston, Mr. Youngo, please come.
Wow. That is wonderful. Boy, that was an excellent presentation. Wonderful.
It's not that serious.
Wonderful.
Now we will recognize three schools in our district who have earned the Beating the Odds Award. Beating the Odds is an award from the University of Arkansas's Office of Education Policy. The award goes to schools that serve a population where 66% of students face economic challenges and where the students are demonstrating the highest levels of academic growth. The organization highlights high-poverty schools that are doing critically important work by helping students move toward and beyond grade-level mastery. First, we will recognize Meadow Park Elementary School.
Oh. All right.
Meadow Park ranked number 5 of high-poverty elementary schools in the Central Region based on English Language Arts ACT Aspire growth.
All right.
Mr. Barnes, I would also like the public to know that Meadow Park Elementary School won our now traditional Spirit Award at the beginning of the school year, so they deserve that recognition as well.
All right. Congratulations.
North Little Rock High School ranked number 2 of high-poverty high schools in the Central Region based on Math ACT Aspire results. Excuse me, ACT Aspire growth.
Moving up.
And last but not least, the Center of Excellence ranked number 3 of high-poverty high schools in the Central Region based on Math ACT Aspire growth. Is anyone from the Center of Excellence here?
Dr. St. Louis, can you
We'll be sure that, okay. Dr. Hooper will accept on their behalf.
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the last recognition that we have is our Board of Education recognition, and it is my honor to recognize two, and actually all of our school board members. The first, I would like to publicly recognize Miss Valerie McLean and Miss Natalie Woncomb for certificates of boardmanship award. This certificate of boardmanship award is only for members newly elected after January 1st of 2018 and at least 25 hours of ASBA training credit and must include the following: 6 hours of ASBA New Board Membership Institute, 3 hours of ASBA regional meetings, 2 hours of additional ASBA hours in each of the following areas: finance, governance, legal, and student achievement, academic program needs, understanding data, and 8 additional hours of ASBA electives. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to recognize our two school board members, Ms. Valerie McLean and Ms. Natalie Woncomb.
Congratulations.
And the second, or the last award that I have is for the entire North Little Rock School District Board of Education Outstanding Board Award, earned when all members have achieved the individual Outstanding Board Member Award and the Certificate of Boardmanship. Congratulations, our entire school board, for such a high honor recognition.
Get you some, Arkansas. Wow, really? I know. Get a picture of the shoe.
You really need to put on a jacket so you look professional.
It was such a mama thing to say. Y'all put your little losing team on down there. Thank you. Wait on, Mama.
1, 2, 3.
November is a month set aside to give thanks. In North Little Rock School District, we are thankful for our parents, family members, for choosing our district to ensure that their student is academically, socially, and future ready. This month's recipient is being recognized for their commitment and dedication to education. The family comes to our district in a very special way. They shared how they visited different schools and interviewed staff before selecting the best fit for their student and family. This family says that the best education is non-negotiable, period. Mom shared that supporting teachers and achieving results is important because everyone has to work together for the success of a child. Mom stated that she puts God first in everything that they do and how important a strong village is to a student's success. When I talked to the school principal about my selection, she said nothing but nice words, and I could feel the smile in her voice. She stated that Mother is very active with the school through her dropping off things, picking things up, etc. She stated that in conversations she could always hear how Mom and Dad wants and expects the best for their child. The principal got tickled talking about how she looks forward to seeing our recipient in the car line because there's always a good laugh because mama has a different hairstyle. The word that the principal said several times was relationship, stating that the relationship she, the teachers, have with the family is what makes the difference. Growing up, I heard a saying, the proof is in the pudding. Well, the pudding was seen this evening on the video. Our November recipient are Jean and Celicia Youngo, the parents of Alex Youngo. Seen in the video, Dr. Paluski, Board of Education, help me salute our parent North Star.
Your hair is gorgeous.
Thank you. The Great Rising Award. This month's Great Rising is highlighting an organization that is committed to helping every Arkansan reach their God-given dream. They've been supporting students in schools in the North Little Rock School District for many years. Their services consist of many things to many students and families. They host parent events for the residents in the homes at Pines Crossing. They mobilize an after-school program at 11 sites throughout the Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Jacksonville area. We've already discussed serving some of our students with that after-school support. This month's recipient is dedicated to one of our schools, providing tutoring services with students, providing snacks, showing up during cafeteria and recess time to help teach and provide social skills to students on a weekly basis. When talking to the school principal, she said they are dependable and on campus every Thursday like clockwork. Dr. Paluski, North Little Rock staff, Lakewood staff again, North Little Rock community, help me recognize our November 2023 Great Rising recipients, every Arkansas Incorporated, passionately known as the Dream Center. They thought they were here to talk.
So Lakewood got the secret sauce over there. That is so nice. Service. Arkansas Dream. You bring any family with you? Nobody? Okay. Thank you. Great job. Wonderful job. Executive closed session. I went to the- Executive closed session. Executive closed session. Per the North Rock School District Policy 1.14A, stating that private or closed discussion by the board may occur as part of a regular or special school board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or the resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment if requested by the parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public and presents the items for vote of the membership. Further, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 106(2)C states, the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. Please join me in executive closed session for the discussion of the following matters: employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or the resignation of an employee. board involvement. At this time, Dr. Pulaski.
Yes. Board member. Madam President, members of the Board of Education, I believe the 8.1 is board member involvement. I don't know which side you'd like to start on, Madam President.
Okay. Miss West.
I'm not ready yet. You can start.
Okay, that's fine. Miss Temple.
Well, I was able to attend the Lakewood celebration for their increase in grade, and that was really nice. It was, appreciate everything that happened over there.
Okay. All right, Dr. Redis.
I was able to attend Boone Park's Fall Festival. It was great. It was a great turnout. I went to Glenview's luncheon, and our ambassadors were Malia, Keith, Leland, Danera, Herbert, and Miss Harris. So thank you for being our ambassadors. And I did attend the November 6th, the last capital improvement project virtually.
Okay. Ms. Welcome.
Lakewood celebration, the capital improvement meetings. I did a virtual 7th Street PTA meeting where Mr. Tatum's question was addressed by the principal, Mr. Logan, and then North Little Rock High School PTSA meeting as well. So.
Okay.
Let me repeat that so everybody can hear. Lakewood celebration, we've got the capital improvement meetings. We've got the 7th Street PTA meeting via Zoom where Mr. Logan addressed Mr. Tatum's concerns already. Thank you for that. And then the North Little Rock High School PTSA meeting was also involved. We do have something coming up. The father-daughter dance will be on December 5th, and look for the backpack flyers that are coming out. We're also out of school next week, so please don't send your children to school on Monday. No one will be here. Okay, thank you.
I also attended the Capital Improvement Project meetings and the one that was virtual online. Did a luncheon at Glenview, and the Rover was there, so we got to tour the bookmobile. Went to a board luncheon also at Indian Hills, and we were escorted by the fire marshals. And Dr. Redis always gets the names of our guides, but she didn't happen to be there that day, so I have the names: Herbert, Callie, Jalen, Daniel, Andrew, and Ayana. And shout out to them because they were wonderful guides. I went to the Crestwood Elementary Fall Carnival, and it was packed. I mean, so many people there. Kids in their cute costumes, fun games, activities, food, you name it. I also went to Lakewood Elementary celebrating the fact that they moved a letter grade up to a B. And I went to Frozen to see Frozen at the high school, and it's awesome.
Very good.
Mr. Steele?
Thank you. Attended some of the capital project meetings, I think Lakewood and 7th Street, both very educational. I've gone to Glenview. I'm getting to that. Yeah, I think went to Glenview, meeting here with the superintendent. Also, I was pleased for the first time in a long time. The advisory board from 7th Street, we met, had an extensive meeting. I've gone from being very discouraged to optimistic that we'll get things back on track at 7th Street. That's extremely, extremely important. But we had a good meeting. I think everybody had an opportunity to communicate and voice their concerns. Mr. Logan did a good job of kind of giving everybody an update where we are and a direction on where we need to go. I want to thank Mr. Tatum personally for his involvement, and John John McClellan. I think I tell you, they take control of those kids when they get off the bus and when they're in there for lunch. And understand we have some challenges, but because we had volunteers there and parents there on the scene, everything turned out to be just fine. Mr. Tatum, we really asked and almost begged parents to get involved. So we want you to know we've asked for that over and over again, and we appreciate your involvement daily. We appreciate you coming to these meetings. That's what we ask parents to do, and you're a great example of what we've been asking for a long time. I wish we had more, but I appreciate the ones that we do have. Thank you so much. And basketball. I know football has been not the same as it's been over the last few years, but we're bouncing the ball again. And we've got, I tell you, the girls' team is great. We're at Jacksonville tomorrow evening, and I tell you, I'm very impressed with the boys' team. They're going to be very good this year. Thank you.
Okay, and good evening, and thank you.
Okay, I'm
what
ready.
I attended.
Ms. Williams.
Yes, you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay,
I had to think about what all I did this. So I attended the Amboy Elementary Veterans Day event, capital improvements, pretty much the majority of them, and even the virtual one. I had an opportunity to, of course, attend the football games, and I myself, and along with Dr. Hooper, was guest coaches for the dance team one night, for the 9th grade dance team, and attended Frozen, and that was really good. I was really impressed with our students and so much talent here in North Little Rock, and it just did my heart good to see our kids involved and doing great things. Got some donations for hats and earmuffs to Crystal to distribute to the different schools. And hopefully we can get some coats. We need some coats. So if you know some people that want to donate coats, you just send them our way. We'll be happy to take those donations. Now, we don't want your bad coats. We want your good coats. And we want to make sure that they're clean and tidy and something that you would put your child in. So if they're used coats, but we take good condition coats and new coats. Thank you.
You through?
Yes. She's just being a hater because
Glenview Fall. I attended the Glenview Fall Festival, and it was very nice. Indian Hill School, Seed from a Bee. They even had a bee cake, and it was so sweet. Attended Glenview luncheon with the students, and also capital campaign, as well as virtual. And all that, whatever Dr. Peluski asked us to do, that's what I did. So at this time, we will move right along. Dr. Peluski, let's hear what you've been doing.
Thank you, Madam President, members of our Board of Education. I'll go fast. It's been busy. December. October the 23rd, obviously our forums been very busy, active with our capital improvement forums. Our School Safety Task Force met on October the 24th. Also on October 24th, I had the privilege to be invited to 7th Street Elementary School. Arkansas Game and Fish was there, and I believe I was in the 4th or 5th grade. And they wanted to know my experience with bats. And that was an awesome conversation that we had. They were learning about bats. It was getting ready. It was close to Halloween. It was awesome. The Glenview Luncheon, the Ridge Road Forum, Cody Walker, who's here, the president, we have an outstanding partnership. We visited the high school on October 30th to begin a conversation about having a health clinic staffed by doctors from Baptist Health in the school to be able to service students and staff. So just a conversation at this point, but you can imagine what's possible with those kind of partnerships. Our monthly mayor's meeting on November the 1st, Indian Hills luncheon on the 1st as well. our PTA meeting with all the PTAs on November the 6th, our virtual Zoom on capital improvement. Our teacher advisory, which was on the 7th, and we've been having a great discussion around early release days and getting feedback from them and some proposed changes. Our parent advisory was also that night as well. The Lakewood celebration on the 8th, as Mr. Steele mentioned, on the 9th of November, we hosted the E4 advisory. Had my student advisory on November 9th as well. Had another teacher advisory, so we meet with the teacher advisory twice a month. It's one of the things I look forward to most, either meeting with students or meeting with our teachers. Yesterday, I was at the Career Academy Expo, which is over at the Convention Center. All of our 9th graders in our school district got to visit all types of careers yesterday. And as soon as I walked in, I asked how have our students been doing, and they've just glowed about all of our 9th graders, so kudos. This morning, I was at Indian Hills Elementary School, and I want to give a shout out to another partnership, and that is Mr. Shelton with First Financial. They were doing financial literacy engagement with all grades, 3, 4, and 5, talking about saving, interest. And they're going to be doing that at all of our schools. And the awesome thing is they give every child $5 that they can go to their bank and deposit to start a savings account. So just want to encourage our parents. You're going to see that coming home. Please would encourage. And after that, I was at Glenview Elementary School this morning, and Dr. Lightfoot was leading us, the school, in instructional rounds, so we had a great opportunity to visit, or I was there during the debrief.
Okay, and thank you, board members, for being so actively involved in the schools and in the community, and to you, Dr. Peluski. At this time, board members, we have informational.
We're legislative update.
Yeah, legislatively up here. Number 9, 9.1, Mr. Steele.
No legislative update today, Madam Chair.
Okay, then. Thank you. Okay, we have the CPPC monthly report and the LPPC monthly report. You are first, Ms. Colquitt.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, good evening, board members and Dr. Peluski. Thank you for this opportunity. I do not have any proposals.
Very proper today.
Okay, I do not have any proposals for this evening. One thing I would like to bring your attention to, posted to the agenda, are our previous meeting minutes. I'm not going to read those to you, from October 24th and October 31st. The committee met this past Tuesday on November 14th, and the highlight of our meeting was Mr. Smith presenting us the 2023 legislative session policies. There are 6 of them, and I'll be honest, there's a lot there. There's a lot. We are ready to dive into these policies. We did not make any decisions. Dr. Peluski has so graciously extended a work day for us, and so we are going to meet on December the 8th, the committee, from 8:30 to 3:30 here in the boardroom, and at that time, again, we will be diving into those policies. Ms. Williams, just as a follow-up from when I presented to you policy 8.46 on November the 2nd, which just talks about our personnel policies committee. That is one of the policies that Mr. Smith presented to us. So at that time, or at this time, that policy is under review, and we will bring updates to you once we are ready. So.
Okay. I read both of your reports. First one, when are you going, you say, I read in there, you say you'd have to present to the board if you wanted to hire a co-chairman on the board for your position. And the other thing was about the eclipse that you all come to an agreement with the licensed personnel, the date that you're going to change, because everybody,
Yes.
there were 20 schools who have already done that date. So when will you all be presenting that date for us to decide?
Tonight.
Mr. Smith, that is
Okay.
an action item on the agenda for this evening, so
Okay.
he will be presenting that.
All right. You got a good report.
Okay. I'm not finished yet, so if you'll just give me one more minute. I will say the committee is we're taking a proactive stance. We're not just sitting back waiting on administration to bring things to us. But our first priority is to get these 6 policies reviewed. And I will say I would, with the committee, like to get feedback from other classified employees. So I did ask Mr. Smith what our deadline is on that. So he said as soon as possible.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
One employee asked us, said that they didn't understand part-time workers in the district no longer get what? Something she said that they didn't get anymore, that came out of you all's meeting, but I didn't know what they were talking about. What is it no longer? Were they getting like a check if they went absent? That's what I was asking you. Say for instance, a part-time employee, and you know how you've been getting the stipends for being present, they no longer get that. That's what I'm asking you for LF. I'm talking about license, not classified. I'm asking you.
Me?
What,
Mr. Smith would have to speak to that because I'm uncertain.
Okay.
Okay.
I was understanding that it came from you. That's what I was told. That's why I was saying I brought it to your attention.
I'm not aware, but maybe.
Are you speaking, Ms. Williams, of classified or licensed, or both?
Classified.
Classified? Yes, ma'am. We haven't had any discussion from our minutes or meetings. I believe embedded in the law is you are not allowed to receive a stipend for your service either on CPPC or LPPC. So there can be no compensation. The one caveat is that CPPC is still allowed to meet during the day and take action and vote during the day. License may not. And so that is one of the distinctions is their meetings and voting has to occur after the workday. And so why that is what it is, I'm not aware, but that's always been how it was since I've served in this capacity, and we're not allowed to receive compensation for the service on those 2 committees.
Okay, for people that work part-time.
I don't or if you are asking if a part-time member could receive compensation for their service on the committee, I believe the law applies to any job designation, so they would not be able to receive compensation. I'll put that in my weekly board report, and I'll cite the law.
I would like to know. I think they need to know because some lady called me saying, well, Miss Williams, I work part-time, but I no longer, they said I won't be, they sent it through an email or something, said I will no longer be receiving, I guess, the benefits that everybody else been seeing. It's like a cutoff something. That's why I was asking. I know it hadn't been presented to the board, but when they talk, maybe they listen and they can hear your clarity that you're explaining everything, because I didn't understand it either, and thank you.
Yeah, maybe I would just suggest, Ms. Williams, you want to give me the name of the employee, we can get that to Mr. Smith.
She works at Glenview, and she's one of the employees in the cafeteria.
Yes, ma'am.
She said she's part-time. It seemed like it was something being cut that they had been receiving, but they would no longer be receiving.
We'll have to follow up with specifics of what the employee is asking.
Yeah, in her specific situation. But yes, ma'am, we will follow up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Can I just say I am in awe because I've been on the board, I forget how many this term, that we have somebody from CPPC representing. And being that I came from the classified side, I am excited. Thank you for your report. I'm just excited. Thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Smith, for your. At this time, we'll have the licensed personnel. New president, new vice president.
New chair.
Okay.
Hi, board. My name is Sarah Stumpenhouse. I work as a counselor at Indian Hills Elementary School, and I'm excited to serve as the chair. with Akila Barksdale as the co-chair this year. From our first meeting, I'm only bringing approved minutes to you today, and that's from our October, the 9th meeting. At that time, we elected new officers. That was our first thing that we did. We went over the new role of LPPC and what the tasks were before us. And then we talked about the retention stipend and had some discussion about that as to whether we could proceed with being able to discuss changing the requirements for the bonus. And so because it's labeled, it was presented as a retention and recruitment bonus and not an attendance bonus, we were just inquiring as to whether or not we could change the parameters for how we could get those bonuses. That has been looked into since that time, and so we understand that that's kind of a done deal for right now.
Right.
We also talked about the Eclipse Day, and we agreed with the CPPC to go ahead and add a day on to the end of the year for that, which is something that'll be presented tonight for a vote. We also looked at the 6 policies that came along with the LEARNS Act, and we are still working on those as well because they're pretty thick and are going to require some attention to procedures. One of the things that we discussed at that point was the dress code policy for staff, and there was some kickback from Ridge Road because they wanted to be able to have a little more relaxed dress code policy in an elementary setting, and so we have gone back and done a proposal for a dress code for staff, and that will come in the December board meeting for you guys.
Okay.
We looked at professional development dates at that time, and we wanted to be able to see if we could start PD right after the end of school, and so we tasked Mr. Smith to contact the State Department to see if we could start before June the 1st, and he found out that we cannot. So we will have to do all PD after starting June the 1st for the next school year. And then we set up our meetings for the rest of the year.
Oh, okay. Any questions? I just want to ask you one. That report that Mr. Smith gave you from 3.1 down to 336 about the new laws.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you all sent it out to the teachers? Because
I've sent it out to my staff. And
well,
so
it need to go out. I was just telling you, I think you all should send that out to everybody, because to me as board members, we heard it last when we had our meeting, and they certainly need to know about the contracts not being renewed and the process and all of that. And that's a conversation I would like to recommend that you have with Mr. Smith, because it is very serious reading that, and you have 6 of them, and it's frightening.
if you're comfortable with that, I can prepare an information memo and we can get that out to the district that just that lists those policies to get feedback so that every person receives that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And so just to add to that, as a follow-up, at our next Board of Education meeting, as requested by the board, Mr. Jay Beckett, our Chief Legal Counsel, will be here. He knows what your questions are. He's going to dive into that a little bit more with you. And then I do believe we're going to work with LPPC, because for us to put that into place, we have to have a policy. And so our policy is going to have to change. So that's kind of the work that they're going to be doing. So that will still have to come before the board as a final vote to vote on that. Well, they'll each have to take it up of, reviewing the policy and the policy process. So, but as far as awareness, yes, Ms. Williams, I concur.
And one other thing, any board members, don't leave your seat. Other board members may have statements they would like to ask you about your report. Okay. Good report. Ms. Temple, did you all have anything, Wes, ready?
No, I didn't have any questions necessarily, but I do agree with you that we need to make sure that, teachers have that kind of listed out for them to look at once, we have an opportunity to listen to Mr. Beckett. So
I'm going to ask you this. Very good about dress code, that you all came up with. You're going to have to bring that to the board. People have been complaining about the way teachers dress. But what you all were saying, why do certain schools have blue jeans on Fridays, it's not a consistent policy across the district. That's you all's concern.
Well, the policy is pretty general, and it's up to each building principal to make the decision about what's appropriate professional attire. And so different building principals are coming up with different ideas of what that entails. And so we would just like to create a more specific policy that will allow certain types of things to be, especially at the elementary setting, you know, where we have to be able to get into the floors, and we have to be able to be out at recess for long periods of time. And so when they're being asked to wear professional, you know, slacks and all throughout the year, that can be
I think if you put it like that,
morale.
you write your policy, because everybody say that they feel that teachers dress inappropriate. Maybe for high school, maybe you are going to have to do two different ones. I can understand elementary school, you're duping, you're standing up, all of that. But some of the stuff they wear for that thing, like, you know, I understand where you all are coming from.
Right.
I really appreciate the thought that you all are talking about how you look when you go to work, because that policy that you got in there and that you read, it sounds so professional. You think everybody come to school every day dressed up. The policy that now exists that you have in your report that I read, it's in there.
Yes, it is in there, and we don't. But I don't think you've received the proposed policy that you'll get at the next meeting. And so I just kind of want to forewarn you that the proposed policy is a more casual type of dress. It is not as strict as what we're currently seeing, and we're doing this because anything that we can do that is a free give to the teachers and to keep their morale up and to keep them coming and staying in this job, we feel like is really important. And while we want to definitely make sure that people are not being inappropriate, we will leave that up to the principals to decide that. That's our recommendation at some point. But we do want to be able to acknowledge that teachers are, inflation has still risen, and $50,000 only goes so far when you have, you're a single mom with 2 kids, and you know, you're not told far enough in advance to be able to go out and purchase something. So, I mean, I've been clothes shopping lately, and I'm still wearing stuff that's 25 years old, and I make one of the higher salaries at my building. So I have a husband who also makes a salary. So
I can understand.
You have to understand it's a
Whatever you all
multi-layered
decide.
situation.
Pronounce your name for me again.
Stumpin' House.
Okay. I think what I was saying is I think it's a very good idea that what you all need to do is everybody be on one accord.
Yes.
In reading your report, that's what I was alluding to.
Right.
And when I read the policy that already exists, I didn't realize that you all were thinking it was a little strict, because when we go into buildings, it looked like it's just a free-for-all period. I thought that you all are very relaxed anyway.
Well, I know in my building I'm lucky to have an administration that's very supportive and doesn't put a lot of pressure on us, but there are other buildings where that's not happening. So we wanted to be able to specifically put T-shirts and professional type of jeans with no holes and rips and stuff in them, because as an elementary person, I mean, my principal's the queen of T-shirts. I mean, we make T-shirts as a staff all the time. So, you know, we put North Little Rock's logo and all that kind of stuff on our T-shirts all the time. So
that's very good marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? I read your report. It was really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank
Okay,
you,
Dr.
John.
Please.
Yes, ma'am. Our first information item is 11.1 NLRSD Fall NWEA data update. This will be done by Mrs. McNulty, our Coordinator of Accountability, Assessment, and Data Management, who's going to give you, I know you've read these slides, you've looked at them. She's not going to go through every one, but she's going to just give you a high-level overview so that you have an opportunity to ask questions.
Very good.
Good evening, Madam Board President, Dr. Paluski, members of the board. It's good to be here to share with you an overview of our NWEA fall assessment data. And as you know, this is our benchmark data that we initially give, and in the wintertime there will be another data point, which will actually be the data point that we're looking for, because it's going to be based upon the instruction that's been given and also the outcomes and growth the students have made. So here are the few things that we are going to touch on. The first thing I wanted you to know is to just see some of the details of the assessment. We have changed the process and the way we give assessments, trying to eliminate not having too many assessments. So this year, for our third grade through 10th grade, we only gave 2 assessments in reference to NWEA interim assessment, and so that the students could be ready to take the Atlas summative assessment at the end. Now for the K through 2, it is state mandated that we make sure that there are 3 assessments given throughout the year. We've been working hard as a test coordinator team, just training and learning and making sure students are feeling prepared, teachers are feeling prepared to give these assessments. And as you know, when we look at the national growth for schools from fall to winter, our goal is really to make sure that as we're moving towards that 50 to 55 percentile, and also looking for it increase as well. And the overall basis of our NWEA assessment is really to check the effectiveness of how we're doing in reference to curriculum, pedagogy, and all of those other pieces as well. So in looking at the data, some of the analysis that I was able to see is that in math, definitely we look like we are trending in the right position, in the right area. There seems to be a stronger Tier 1 instruction. And in ELA, it's essentially a work in progress. We're seeing that the Tier 1 instruction is not where it needs to be, but this is a work in progress, and I believe the ladies are going to talk more about the plan that is in place for literacy. And what we're also noticing that for different schools at different grade levels, there's progress being shown, and there are teachers that are providing rigorous, relevant, and innovative learning experiences for our children. And lastly, one of the things that we did was we made a change to our testing protocol to make sure that we were really following state guidelines. And so I think that might have influenced our data outcomes, as we did not see as much growth as we typically see in the past. All right, so here's the historical data, and I have outlined for you in blue some of the points where we actually showed some growth. And so that's for reading. For math, as you can see, we talked about the trending of, moving in the right direction, so you can see the growth that we've made, trying to get back to fall 2019 data as well. And these are the individual school data points that I will quickly go through, but what I want you to realize in looking at this data is it is solely focused in on students that are at or above grade level mean RIT. And these students are typically meant to be ready students, students that are proficient. Keep in mind that with our students, as you know, they come from all different levels. And so this data really just tells us that we have, some students who are not making as much gains as we like to see, who may be at-risk students, and we have students that are also close. And so with the work that we do to support our students, eventually our goal is to make sure that we have more students really reaching that at or above mean grade level of RIT. So in boys data, as you can see, kindergarten is very strong there, and there's some movement. There's areas for opportunities, but definitely moving. Boone Park. One of the things I'll say is we've really definitely got to look at our 5th grade. Looking at our math data is a little bit concerning there. Crestwood, as you celebrated today, they are still above the national average, and in reference to the neighboring districts as well, and outside region, we are seeing that their data is actually outperforming some of the other schools in the surrounding areas. Glenview, they're working hard, trying to make that progress, but there's still some opportunities, as you can see. Indian Hills is definitely on the move, and I love seeing that Math in third grade, 51% of our students at or above grade level read, and also fourth grade, and they're still working hard to continue that improvement. Lakewood celebrated as well. You can see the strong data outcomes as well. Meadow Park, and you can see the trend in our literacy data where they were celebrated for their increase. So this is making sense. They're working hard. Our next piece is to continue working on that math piece, especially looking at the fifth grade data point there. Ridge Road, as you know, we have a high percentage of our students that are L's, and so that also contributes, but you know, we're looking at the work they're doing, and they are moving along and trying to ensure great instruction for our students. This is our data outcomes for 7th Street. You can see that there's some movement there, and when you look at 5th grade, that is really good to see. We have about 21% of our students that are at or above grade level mean read. A lot of resources being supported in that school, so I'm encouraged by the work that we have moving forward.
Before you go there, I have a question at this.
Yes.
In the elementary schools, all the kindergarten math and reading is the highest one.
It is.
That is amazing. I mean, in every school.
Yeah, typically.
So what's happening?
Yeah, you know.
They are excelling. What I'm saying, if you look at everybody's school, it's the kindergartens who are reading and excelling.
Yeah. We've got some work to do to uncover some of those pieces. As you stated, is correct. Before we noted that K through 2 assessments were text-to-speech, but now the state actually offers text-to-speech in math and also in science. And so right now we haven't taken science yet, but the students are receiving text-to-speech in math. And so that actually, I'm thinking actually in math and reading, so I think that makes a difference as well. Definitely math and reading. So that's a huge difference.
Okay, thank you.
And this is the 7th and 8th grade campus. Definitely like seeing the 8th grade reading data there moving up. Some grade we're needing some increase, and as well as our math areas. Center of Excellence, definitely some good movements there. North Little Rock High School, as you can see, strong area is definitely in the area of literacy and continuing to work on that math piece, and they've made that a priority area this year. We've got additional links for you if you want to look at the high school data. And at this point, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions? Ms. Temple?
I am definitely encouraged by the kindergarten numbers. My concern is somewhere between kindergarten and say between there, once they leave kindergarten and 3rd grade, something gets lost in the sauce somewhere. And I don't know exactly where the disconnect could possibly be. And, you know, you can always say that it's home factors, community factors, or what have you, but the positive part of it is I'm happy to see the schools that did make, you know, substantial gains and growth. But something somewhere gets lost in the sauce but after kindergarten because it takes almost a dive.
It does.
And that's sad to see. And, you know, and I just try to, you know, whenever I even talk to one child, just try to make sure that you push literacy and math and how important it is to them. But, you know, just keep trying.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Ms. Temple?
When I look at this, I'm thinking this is a result of the curriculum changes that we've made, because we've even dropped down into pre-K to get them ready for kindergarten, and it seems like it's showing up. And then when I look at 5th grade, I can't help but wonder if they lost some foundations during that whole COVID stuff, because
Yeah,
I
that's a
know
good
I
point.
moved so much in my schooling
Mhm.
that I missed foundations in math, and it took me a while to catch up.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if that's part of what we're seeing is that they've lost some stuff during that time.
That's
that-
actually a great point. You're right. The pandemic did take a toll, and they did not receive the instruction that they needed, and so that does impact as well. So that's a great point.
Dr. Ritter,
Great report, thank you.
Ms. Walker.
I saw the report,
Mhm.
read the report. I understand it. I also understand the national average that our children are 2 years behind due to COVID is what the professionals are telling us. That's scary, and I see that within this data. Also know that we are ranked 228 as far as public schools within Arkansas, and I see that in the data. So we've got work to do.
You're absolutely right. We are on that trajectory. We're working hard, and we're going to continue that path.
Ms. McLean.
I've seen I've made some of the same observations that have already been said, but I know that we've got teachers that are out there working hard to try to change these things.
Yes.
And we've got leaders that are out there working with them.
Yes.
So I have great hope that we will see those changes.
You're right.
Mr. Steele.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you can implement two other areas that I would be concerned about. One is attendance, and one is discipline. Because I'm told from a lot of the kindergarten teachers around the district that kindergarten students don't miss. Their attendance is very good. As students get older, a lot of students start missing more school. And I don't think we put enough sometime importance on learning time. The more learning opportunities you miss, the more it's going to impact the data.
You're right. They said the students need to be here at least 80% of the time to receive the instruction, as well as teachers should be there 80% of the time.
That was my next question. Very good. So that benchmark is about 80% to be able to get the fullness of the education.
Correct.
And discipline.
Discipline is
More,
also a
as
factor.
they get older, more discipline issues. And the discipline issues is very telling, because when you have major discipline issues, Mr. Logan, it impacts more than the kids that's acting out. If that teacher has to pull a child out of the classroom over a discipline issue, it distracts everybody else in the classroom. And you just don't see that much in kindergarten, first grade. The discipline issues that I'm hearing about, but start a little later. But I would like to know what impact attendance and discipline have on these numbers, if that's possible.
I think discipline also can have an impact, especially if the students have to spend some time at home due to behaviors that, are, definitely goes against the handbook. And so it does impact. But overall, attendance is huge, and it's a piece that we are continuing to work on.
Thank you.
And I'll just add to that, Mr. Steele, that's our next report that's coming. I mean, we've been analyzing this as an executive team to make sure that our data is accurate, but we've been digging into both attendance and discipline by campus. That'll be a forthcoming report as we look at. Our district-wide goal is 95%, and that varies from campus to campus, but that'll be the next data report that we provide.
Yes.
Dr. Yao, tell me this. When I be looking at like the Center of Excellence in the high school, it's you said 9 and 10, and then I went and pushed on. You said if I wanted to know some more data about the high schools, I pushed the button, but it didn't tell me anything.
Oh,
I
you
wanna
didn't
know
get
about the 11, 12.
We'll have to check the link then.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we have to check the link because it should have.
It put out a little graph.
Yes.
But my comprehension was beneath me, and I didn't understand it.
Okay.
And so what did I miss?
So in the additional, for the additional data, it just kind of gives you more information about, we have, as you look at Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry, it just breaks it down even more to show you how our students performed in that area. So that gave you additional information. So it just is broken down even more. And it tells you also like where the students are ranking in each of the percentile groups.
Okay.
And I would also encourage Ms. Williams or any board member, if you want to take, just like we say with Mr. Brown, you want to go take a deep dive into the budget, I highly encourage you to take a deep dive. If there's something specific that you want to look at even more on top of this, you're welcome to sit down with.
Well, what can we do to help?
I think you're doing a lot. You are all doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And we are taking the next steps. And as a collaborative team, we just need to push forward and work as a united group. So that is what's ahead of us. So I think you've given us all the things we've asked for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from board members from Ms. Yard's presentation?
Thank you, Ms.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Data driven.
And so coming in right behind that is information item 11.2, which is we wanted to update the board on our district literacy support plan and our structured literacy block. Dr. White could not be with us this evening, but our two dynamic literacy stars. Number one, I welcome Ms. Carmen Langston, our coordinator of elementary reading, and her companion on the other side of that, on the secondary side, Ms. Agnes Cruz. And I know you've looked at these slides as well. They're going to give you a high-level overview, but I think it'll help you give some context and background of the work that we're doing to improve our students' reading on or above grade level. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Paluski and board. We are here today to talk to you about some of the improvement plans that we have been making and looking over for literacy for K-12. And I know that you all have taken a look at some of these plans, so we'll breeze through them quickly, and then if you have some questions, we'll take those at the end. Dr. Nickerson, who is our literacy enforcement director, created the plan that you see at the top, and then from there we took that and split it off into some smaller plans that were specific to elementary and secondary literacy. For elementary, one of the things that I do want to specifically pull out of that report that you may have looked at is that we are seeing gains specifically in third grade reading in their oral reading fluency. So that tells me that some of the issues that we have been seeing are starting to work themselves out as they are, as you spoke to, getting some better supports because they are here at school and getting a traditional education, whereas our 4th and 5th graders may not have been as fortunate to get that opportunity because of COVID. So this is our structured literacy block. When you think of structured literacy, it's based off of the science of reading, which is a body of research. And when you put that into practice, it's called structured literacy. The principles that guide it are that it is explicit, diagnostic, and systematic and cumulative instruction. It is based around these elements that you see here underneath these bullets, and then on the left side you see Scarborough's reading rope, which is a theoretical model that explains the science of reading and the elements that it takes to get a skilled reader.
And also, following behind the rope, decoding is important, but it isn't everything. That is one of the shifts that we have made in our department, is to focus on that comprehension piece, because we were doing a lot of decoding and a lot of just kind of isolated wording and helping the kids pull those out of the page. But we are starting to come up with a plan and help our teachers see how the two go together and how we can move our kids in the comprehension. As Ms. McNulty shared on the data, we are making some progress. That reading is getting better. We're making small gains. But what that tells us is that the potential is there. And we just need to have the right supports in place for them that encompass all of the components.
So this is what our structured literacy block looks like in the K-5 curriculum. We have our phonemic awareness and phonics. We have ELA, reading and writing, and then we have small group reading as well, and the minutes are there for you, as well as the curricular resources that we use to teach those components. If you were to walk in an elementary classroom during phonemic awareness and phonics, what you'll see there is that students are learning to read and spell. If you walked in during the ELA block, you are going to see things like reading comprehension, grammar being taught, writing, listening comprehension, and also speaking and listening. And small group reading is the portion of the day where students get exactly what they need, whether they be on grade level, below, or somewhere in the middle. It is skill specific, so each child is awarded a chance to come and sit with that teacher and get exactly what he or she needs.
Okay, and going back to the literacy plan, the secondary one, it was mirror with the district one, and again, we are aligning that support with our resource that we presented to you guys previously. So we're, again, making those connections for our teachers and our administrators and helping them coaching, modeling, and doing all those things. And the 6 through 8 block, the 6 through 8, we split up 6 through 8 and 9, 12 simply because of the blocks. In high school, they have the 80, 90-minute blocks, but they only see the students every other day. So I'm only going to touch on the 6, 8 because the components are the same, and you guys can see that. What we have is we have 4 main components, and we included the introduction in the secondary level because it is so important to have the kids ready for the lesson. They have to start as soon as they come in, get ready. I was in a classroom this week, and it was great. I had the teacher. She had the warm-up in there, and she was telling the kids over and over as they were coming in before that tardy bell. She's like, this is your time to get ready for English. This is time for you to think about English. This is time for you to think about this. And I thought that was great just to get them ready. So that's why the introduction is so important, the secondary. Then the direct instruction, independent practice, and, of course, the closure. I remember the days when the bell rang and everybody left, and the teacher was still talking. So we were trying to wrap it all up for them. One thing I want to point out is during the direct instruction, when we walk into a classroom, direct instruction a lot of times mean I'm going to talk and the kids are going to listen for 25 minutes. We are making that interactive. It has to be interactive. I do something, we check, they do. And another major thing that we hope to see, we hope that anybody that walks into this classroom see, is the writing in response to reading. That is big. As we talk about, and you hear this over and over, Atlas is very different this year. The writing portion is coming in March. It's a month early. And it is going to be in response to reading. The students are going to get 3 or 4, the higher levels can get up to 6 different pieces of text, and they got to write in response to that. So we have to train our students to do that, and that's what we are hoping to do during this block that we structured for them, where we focus on that comprehension. They can't write using our resources, they can't read it. So we're just incorporating that. You should see that in every class, every day. We have a text, we're writing. And that's pretty much our structure blocks. And like I said, 9 to 12, the minutes vary because they're longer, but they're able to cover more than just one skill. And that's it.
These are some of the things that us as the coordinators have been completing in order to support this learning of the teachers and the students. Of course, we're doing professional development, we're providing coaching, we're even working in the classrooms, specifically at 7th Street, and then Agnes, you are at
I'm at the 7th and 8th grade building, and all of them, but mostly in 7th and 8th. We're doing a lot of coaching. I started doing this mini videos for the teachers where I model a lesson for them because time is of essence. That's what we hear all the time. We don't have time, so I put out these videos for them, and in conjunction with Ms. Hampton, with the principal, and we are doing, the teachers watch them, they ask questions when we come in, we're able to see. So that gives us, to make the most of our time by doing that, along with the coaching and modeling side by side.
Okay.
Any questions?
That's us.
We'll start down here at the end. You have any questions, Ms. West?
I don't have any questions. I was listening when you said something about the video examples. Is that something that maybe you can incorporate? Like, I know you said you were doing that at 7th, 8th grade campus with
Yes.
Ms. Hampton, but do you think that'll be something maybe that can help out as far as in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
elementary level, or is that have that been looked at?
Go ahead.
We
Tell
are
me you
also
have.
doing those at the elementary
Okay,
level
yes,
as well.
ma'am.
Good.
That's something we started when we started looking at the literacy plans when actually when we first met with Dr. Paluski, how to really get in there and because of the time. So that's when we came up with the videos, the coaching, the model lessons. And I started at 7/8. Eventually, it'll keep going. It's just a work in progress.
What about the particular curriculums that you have in place, such as like wit and wisdom, and then we use another one?
My perspectives?
Yeah.
Mhm.
How's that going as far, what feedback have you heard back from your teachers?
From teachers, and then also want to bring up the state. So we recently were just on a Zoom call with the state and how the different curriculums will best align with our new state test atlas, and wit and wisdom was the one that they highlighted the most, as well as my perspectives,
For secondary.
and said those two would be the two that would best prepare those students for that writing portion of the atlas assessment.
Okay. For secondary, the middle school, they love it because it's very structured. It has all the components. They see the grammar, they see the vocabulary, they see everything, again, within a text. So they love it. High school did not have a resource. They're navigating it, getting there, but they're also very receptive. They're using it. They ask questions. So they're pretty receptive with it.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Temple?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Will we receive the results from the Atlas just like with the
Yes.
ACT Aspire about the same time? Is it still
Well,
the same time?
this will be our first year of implementation. I think that is our hope, is that we're getting that information sooner, would be the hope. But I don't know if they don't even think they've set a timeline yet for a release of when we would expect the results. Or maybe they have. I'm
Not that I'm
Yeah.
not aware
No,
of it.
I'm not
sure
aware
that
of
we're
it
there
either.
yet. When
I
we're
was just curious
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
because everybody's excited about the Atlas. I'm excited to see what the results are going to
Right.
be.
So are we.
So it's my understanding that this data came from last year. This is not this year's data. So as
Yes.
far as like the 26%, the grades 3 to 10 read on grade levels. So that came from last year's data.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Okay. And then we had Miss Hanson, who's a teacher slash mom. She spoke on the Atlas. Not 100% following. I need a little bit more clarity. I understand the Atlas is new. I
Yes, ma'am.
understand we haven't done it before. I understand it came from the state, but I'm not understanding exactly how it's going to be implemented and how our teachers are prepared in order to prepare our students for it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you speaking about the parent who spoke this evening from Amboy?
Correct.
She was speaking on the DNA platform, which is a different assessment platform.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that clarity.
Yes, ma'am.
Good job. With that being said, I'll hold it. I'm going to ask a question one-on-one for that information, but thank you. Good job.
But also, just for the Atlas, for the sake of also clarifying, they have put out, the state puts out blueprints, and they've put out a lot of information that the teachers have. It's on the state website, and we talk about this when we go into the classrooms. Our essential standards were based off of the blueprints for the new assessment.
So let me just clarify. So what she means by that when she says blueprint, it means it helps the teacher unpack the percentage of standards that are being assessed on Atlas, so they know when they're pacing if 40% of the standards that are assessed, we just got to make sure that's what she refers to as a blueprint. We haven't had that before in Atlas. I think that is a game changer. It helps teachers, helps our curriculum folks, helps to be able to pace to make sure you're uncovering those standards before students are
On our presentation last
assessing.
time, that was there.
Yes, I remember that. I recalled that.
And but yes, thank you, Dr. Paluski, for the blueprint clarification. It just gives them an idea of how to do that, and we make sure that those are also incorporated in our supports for them.
What I love to hear is that y'all are in the classrooms.
Yes, they are.
And we love to be there.
That's our favorite part of the day.
That is wonderful. I love to hear that you model sometimes the use of these videos. I am so happy that our administrators are in the classrooms and they know what's going on and they're watching, and our principals, I mean, everybody is involved in those classrooms. And I love that. So thank you, because y'all are sharing things that's just firsthand for y'all. You're not sitting in an office somewhere. you're in that classroom alongside these teachers, and I can only see good things from that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you expound just a little bit? You mentioned that you mentioned the subject matter to the child before you start the teaching process.
Oh, about the teacher that I saw when they came in.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a warm up. We are a lot of times in secondary, and we did it as students. We don't come in until the tardy bell rings, or we just, you know, we social, whatever the case may be. So we put things in place for them to get ready as soon as they walk into that classroom to get their mindset with that subject. That's what the warm ups and the introduction to the lessons are, and some classrooms is great, others are a work in progress, but it is just, and they do it in every class. It's because in secondary they go from being in one class with one teacher all day. In secondary they're in a different class every period, and it's a different subject. So what this teacher, I saw her doing, and most of them are doing it, is just preparing them for that, getting them ready, those 5 minutes. You know, now we're going to be transitioning into this class. This is what we're going to do. And that's what the warm-ups and the introduction are, is bell ringers is really what they are. And it also prepares the students for the lesson for that day. They're aligned to what the lesson is going to be that day.
I think that's so important to really get their mind getting together. I mean, we do it in our society all the time. I'm not so sure it happens that much in education, but I really think that that's really important. Now, you see a major sporting event, people will spend millions of dollars just on the 1 minute prelim. Like when the Eagles beat the Chiefs Monday, you're going to see a big 1 minute, you know, Snoop Dogg or whoever, they're going to pay $1 million to get everybody hyped about the game.
Yes.
If we get these kids hyped about learning and understand why you're taking this particular subject, I think it will really start to make a difference.
And it's starting to, we can see it. We can see the students more engaged. We're seeing that slowly but surely, because, you know, our secondary babies take a little longer to get used to change. But it's working, and our teachers are very receptive to the help. They're trying, and I just use that example because I saw it last week, and I thought it was great that she just keeps, they're doing their work, and she's reminding them, and it's a great thing to see, especially in middle school.
Great.
Okay. Ladies, now who is Miss Langston?
That's me.
Okay, Miss Langston here of elementary reading.
Yep, you got it right there.
All right, the reading, I'm impressed by the reading, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
You got the math and the reading. You've impressed me. You got it doing a good job.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, and Miss Agnes?
Miss Cruz?
That's me.
You, Miss Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Cruz, you doing pretty good yourself, too.
Thank you.
But I would like to say, it's phenomenal. I can see how you can do a timeline with elementary children, but what I was looking at, I was just asking you a for real question. Do you really do this with senior high school students where they have to have an introduction
Yes,
and they
ma'am.
have to read for 20 minutes?
Absolutely.
For real?
It's a 5 to 10 minute. They do. They have, as soon as that tardy bell rings, they have a timer. They have that activity that they're doing that is going to lead them into the lesson for the day. Yes, ma'am. We do it all the way to 12th grade.
Now, is this an English class or is just a reading class by itself?
It's the English language arts class. Is
Okay.
the English class. But again, like I said, I've seen it in other content areas. That introduction to the lesson, that warm-up is very important, even to the big kids. It gets them ready. It gets them in the mindset of that particular subject.
That is remarkable. Well, the reading is a key thing.
Yes, ma'am.
In kindergarten, I'm thoroughly impressed. I don't know what you did or what's happening there. Kindergarten, but I heard Dr. Peluska when he came here 3 years ago. He said that by the time the child got to the first grade, they should know how to read.
Yes,
When
yes,
they get out
that's
of
true.
pre-K, kindergarten, know how to read, and that miracle has happened because some teaching has been going on, and I'm just amazed. I'm amazed. If we get the other kids motivated, I know it takes time, but thank you, and just keep on pushing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And have
Thank
a
you.
phenomenal Thanksgiving, and do pass it on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Go Chiefs.
Our last, go Steelers, 11.3 Capital Improvement Project Priority Community Survey results.
Ms. Rubles.
obviously, and Mr. Brown, obviously this has been our ongoing topic, and tonight we wanted to share for the first time for our public the results that our survey, I believe, had been out for the better part of 12 to 13 days, something like that. But I'll turn it over to Mr. Brown and Ms. Rubel to drive to hit the highlights.
Is this still
Mr.
open real quick, Mr. Brown?
No, it had
It's already
closed
closed.
Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday closed. Okay, thanks.
Welcome,
Thank you,
welcome, Mr. Brown.
Officer, you need to walk them out. Security. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams,
Okay,
Dr.
Ms. Brown.
Paluski, and members of the board. What we'd like to do is walk you through our results that were captured in the Capital Improvement Project Priority Community Survey. We've got some of those results that we're going to walk you through. I'm going to let Ms. Rubel walk you through some of those results.
Our survey was targeted to 3 specific groups of people. Those who live in the city and who are taxpayers, those who do not live in the city but send their students to North Little Rock schools, and finally employees of the North Little Rock School District whose children either attend or don't. But we were asking for input from these 3 different groups. This first question was, do you live in the city limits? Of all of the participants, we had 736 answers to our survey. Of those, 473 lived in the city. 97% of those families equals 459 are taxpayers. So that's the breakdown. Of those 459 people, this is the breakdown of the taxpayers and where their students go to school. 67% of those students attend North Little Rock School District. Here is the list of where those students attend in the North Little Rock School District. And then these are the students who are in the private school. The reason this says 309 responses is because this was a checkbox question, and so one response could have had multiple answers on it, which is why it doesn't say the 459. This is the employee section. Of those people that answered as just employees, there were 156 responses here. Some employees, keep in mind, could have also been taxpayers, and so they could have answered under the taxpayer section. They could have also had students that are attending at other locations.
That's a good point. Thank you for that, because I was a little concerned about the 28 employees at the 6th to 8th grade campus.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm going to need a little bit more support for our own teachers there. So you made a valid point there. Thank you for that. So good job.
This was priority 1. What should be the district's first priority? It is very clear across the board. Priority 1 is the middle school. The taxpayers were 72%. The non-taxpayers, I can't read that number from here, but certainly more than the majority, and the employee section as well. So across the board, everybody's first priority was the middle school.
Good. Good to hear.
When we asked what their second priority was, the taxpayers were at the Old Main and the COE. That is what they want. The non-taxpayers agreed. The employees agreed. So across the board, the district assessment of what we want a priority 2 to be was agreed. The third priority was the demolition of the Poplar Street, the demolition of the police and courts building. The non-taxpayers agreed. The employees agreed. This question only pertains to those that said they were taxpayers. If they were employees that lived outside the district, if they were employees, families who lived outside the district and sent their students, they didn't see this question. The survey was very responsive, so if you answered that you were a taxpayer, then this is the question that you got. So of our taxpayers, of the 459 participants, 66.2% were in favor of the millage for a middle school. When we asked if they wanted to increase the millage to another 1.0, they also agreed with that. This next slide, there were many
many comments. And so as I was going through them, I kind of whittled it down to the highlights. Lots of people asked about air conditioning on school buses. Lots of people asked about a baseball and softball complex or a tennis center. The walkway over Main Street, I had never even considered that, and that came up numerous times. And I thought that was a good idea, especially when I went to see Frozen and had to walk across. And so I thought that was kind of nice. Again, these are in no particular order. Some of the comments would just say tennis center. Some of them were paragraphs of opinions and comments. It was nice to see, but hard to quantify. We had several things that came up, again, numerous times, of things that they are not in favor of. They don't want more common spaces. They want to see independent cafeterias and auditoriums. Several families don't like the discovery spaces in the elementary sites. Feel like when their students out there working with whatever small group they're working with, that their safety is not as secure as if they'd been in the classroom.
Okay.
The pre-K students in elementary sites I found interesting. They don't want them with the bigger kids. They want the pre-K students in an independent setting. So what do we do now? Here are the options that are before you. We need to amend the board agenda this evening and vote for a millage for March. Or number 2, take time and reflect, hold another special board meeting in November for a millage election in March. Or take time, more time, gather more data, consider a vote for November. Or do not pursue millage at this time.
So it's my understanding, if we wait until November 2024, we've missed the deadline for the money from the state, or no?
No.
Clarify that for me one more time.
Yeah. So you have 2 opportunities to ask the voters to support a millage in calendar year 2024. That can be either in March at the primary vote, or it can be in November at the general election vote. Both of those opportunities, you'll have results for us to, so the caveat, the deadline that we have to meet is January 7th of 2025. We have, or January 20th of 2025. We have to be under contract with an architect or a construction manager in order to lock in the $20.8 million. We obviously would not enter into a contract unless we had a approved funding source, which the millage is the funding. So we have 1 vote opportunity in calendar year 2024. It's either March or November. Either one of those, if approved, would allow us to lock in a contract by the January 20th, 2025 deadline. If the millage does not pass, then we have 2 options: either to turn the funding back to the state, or 2, petition the state to give us a waiver on the January 20th, 2025 deadline to engage that contract. The state would obviously evaluate our waiver request. Our waiver request would be, we attempted a millage, it didn't pass, we would like to attempt a millage in 2025. They would make the judgment call on that. They would decide, yes, we'll grant it, or no, we don't. If they grant no, we don't, the money goes back and is reallocated to other projects. If they do grant it, based on us saying we'd like to pursue another millage, then obviously they would extend that deadline for us. And again, in history shows us they have approved some and they have not approved some. So
50-50.
yes, so the decision we need, guidance that we need tonight is whether we need to proceed in getting documents ready for your review and approval for a March election, which would have to happen the week after Thanksgiving, the week of November the 27th, Or are we going to have the election in November, which we can begin this discussion again in March of 2024 for a November 2024 election?
Okay. Question. Ms. McLean?
I was encouraged by the results of this survey. They have 68% saying that they support the millage. And, but I started thinking about that and decided I had to do a little research on my own. So today I spent some time on the internet trying to see if we have 459 people that have responded that are taxpayers. And, well, can we rely on that result? So I kept seeing on these websites, they were like a lot of survey websites, but they were like calculator.net. There were a lot of .coms like cloudresearch.com, and y'all probably, there were some education websites that had information about the surveys. And of course everybody knows Survey Monkey, I think. But they all had this calculator on there that you could plug in, like how many is your population. So I just said, okay, 40,000. We got 40,000 taxpayers in North Little Rock. And then it said, well, what kind of confidence level do you want? And every website seemed to recommend that you go with a 95% confidence level, that the results, you could kind of generalize the results that you had. And then you had to choose a margin of error. So I said plus or minus 5%. And when I put those numbers in, it came up that we needed a sample size of 381 responding. And we had 459. So I felt a lot better when I did that now. I realize that somebody out there that does medical research, they're not going to do this kind of calculation and make generalizations about things. But because I found this calculation over and over and over on different types of websites, the same numbers that they were plugging in, the population, what is your confidence level, and what is your margin of error, I felt good about this, and I feel encouraged that we seem to have some good support out there for this millage, for the middle school, and for Old Main.
Okay. Is there more, Ms. McLean?
Nope, that's pretty
Mr.
much.
Steele, you have something to say?
Well, yes, it's really good information, a good survey. I was impressed by the dialogue that people went into about what their priorities were, and I was pleased that so many of them really said that Old Main was important. I think hovered around 20% or so. What really concerned me is people who fill out surveys is really not an indication of people who are actually going to go down and vote to tax themselves. It's kind of a big gap there, and I don't know how big that gap is. I mean, that's a decent sampling, not a great sampling as far as the numbers are concerned. But what I am hearing when I talk to people, kind of the old-fashioned survey, is there's a lot of concern, and most of it is due to things that are sort of beyond our control. You know, they may have an issue with the district and what we're doing. They may have an issue with performance at some of the school level, but they make sure just about to the person that they want to know they support schools in North Little Rock. But people are very concerned about this economy. And there are a lot of people out there that are having a difficult time just making ends meet. And it's been not only bad, but it's been bad for some time. And people are not really encouraged that they're going to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I think there's a concern about the time limit on it, 30 years. I heard quite a bit about that. But they said, no, we support our district, but the timing is not good right now. So, you know, I lean toward giving us as a district to continue to improve, continue to increase these numbers, continue to communicate with the community, to better clarify what role does Old Main have in this whole millage discussion. Heard a lot of concerns about that. Continue to do that, and hopefully the economy will get better, will turn around. But I think stay in the game, but I think right now, I definitely don't agree with putting it on the agenda tonight. But I'd be open to looking at it down the line some in the near future,
Okay.
maybe November.
Ms. Temple,
Well, I agree that I don't think we should put it on the agenda tonight. And I feel like November would be really good opportunity for us to address some of the issues that have come up as far as performance. That gives us this year, we'll have some assessments and stuff to show improvement. I'm hearing a lot of the same things that you're hearing, that the economy has, but the survey's showing something different.
right.
So, I feel like we can let the taxpayers decide, but I'm thinking November.
Okay. Ms. Dr. Ritz, did you have anything to say?
You since you skipped me, she already said it.
No, she had it up like that. It was all good.
She's already
Best
said
for
it.
the last.
She said everything that I was going to say, that I was prepared to say, which is, except just to mention, I am pleased with the number of people that responded and the outcome and the hard work that you guys put in it. Thank you very much. But I too feel like if we go with November, that gives us time for the community to see what we've done to improve from whence we came.
Okay.
So
Ms.
we'd
West?
have something to sell.
Okay. Ms. West, did you have something to say?
I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route. I think our little raggedy school should settle itself, and I say that we probably roll with the spring election just for the simple fact I feel that when you have a lot of extra stuff on the ballots, it's too much on there, and then it falls into the convoluted mayhem that could possibly be. But I will say that we need a new middle school like a few years ago. And I think that, we're kind of in the business now of kind of, like the older people, you say piecemealing it together, if you will. And it's hanging together almost by duct tape in some places. So every child deserves an effective learning environment and a safe learning environment and a nice learning environment to go to. And I think that, teachers deserve to teach in a nice environment. And when you go back and look at the numbers that was presented in the information as far as how much the millage was, for me, everybody up here has bills and a mortgage, but, I would be willing to sacrifice those few dollars a month to make sure that children in this district have what they need to be effective. And I feel that, time has gone on that we really need to do something with Old Main. And, to do something about our middle school.
Okay. All right, did every board member speak? What they
I
want
have
to
something.
say? Ms. McLean has a hand up.
Yeah, I think that, I don't want to vote on it tonight. I'd like to come back the week after Thanksgiving. But I think during that time, it would behoove us to talk to people and see if we can find some people that are willing to spearhead this for us in the community, like we had at the last millage that we asked for back in 2011. And that would give us some time to talk to some people and see if we can get support from the community that would then take on that task of getting the information out to people and marketing it out there, because we can't do that. We cannot spend any money on that.
Okay.
So I would like for us to explore that a bit in these next 10 days. I don't know, is that 10 days from now we have to do that? And just see what kind of response we have with that also.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, I'd just like to say, if you board members, if you look at the data when they presented it, it's not even a percentage of our enrollment in the community. That should give you some answers to why we cannot move on at this time. 700 people, and it's $8,000 district. It shouldn't be a discussion that we'd have to have and dwell on long. We know nobody will, at this point, we cannot come back after Thanksgiving and have a meeting. It's not feasible. Data reflects it. So what we need to do, and I like the best understanding statement that has been made to us, we need to again stop at this point and let it move forward after we have what was that date you said, next year sometime?
It would have to be by
Come back at
March.
in March. But right now, board members, if you look at the data, thank the people who were very positive about giving us, saying this. But this is not enough for at this time for the board to make a decision saying yes, because we don't want them to feel that we are jumping into something we have no control on, because at this time, the stakeholders are in control. So patience is a virtue. So my thought is what is that month, Dr. P?
I'm sorry, Ms. Williams?
You know, what is that month that we come back to, not this
March.
time, but
Right, it would
next
be,
time we look at
it would be March.
So
March.
so we're required to give 89 days notice to the stakeholders in a public newspaper that we're seeking a millage election prior to a general election. So the 89 days calculates back to the 1st of December for the March election. For the November election, that 89 days goes into July. So, around May or June, we need to start this discussion again with a culminating vote of the board to go forward. If the decision is to go forward with a November election, we would need to do that, by late June, early July. That would give us time to get that notice to the taxpayers and to the election commission 89 days in advance.
Thank you. And I think I heard all the board members express their opinion that this now, and so Dr. Paluski, would you have the final statement, please?
No, sure. Not the final statement. I just wanted to make a statement. Number one, Mr. Brown, thank you, and Ms. Rubel for putting out the survey.
I'd like to publicly acknowledge Ms. Rubel
Yes.
has been the architect of the survey, learning the
Thank
intricacies of Google Form and how to navigate it between all of those. So thank you, Ms. Rubel. Yes.
Absolutely, and certainly as a school superintendent, my job is to advocate for our students, and I certainly advocate for a new middle school and certainly advocate for Old Main and using that for students. However, I do agree with the board's discussion. I do think we need more time, and I'll base that on a couple data points. The first data point, in North Little Rock, there's roughly around 65,000 residents, and I applaud those that took our survey so much. That's great insight. But it's less than 1% of our entire city population. And so, to me, that was a little bit of a pause. It's maybe not the sampling. It's positive, but it's not maybe the sampling that's going to be reflected. That's number one. Number two, I just, in kind of a notice and wonder, I would have maybe expected more of our employees to take the survey. And even when I look at the survey results by the campuses that we want to rebuild, 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, and the COE, I would have anticipated they would have been more that would have engaged in that. That's kind of my second data point. And my third is, in this proposal, we do have $3 million slotted for a parking lot. And I know that's cheaper than a indoor sports complex. However, I think that has to be revisited. You know, if we're going forward, the $3 million should be taken out, in my opinion, about the parking lot. You know, so I think there's my point to all this is I agree that we need more time to reflect on our priorities, and even the discussion that we haven't had is, what if, and we go down this road, what if, and it doesn't pass, what's plan B? Is there something we can do if it doesn't succeed with our capital improvement projects that we could do something? So that allows us time to do all that. Thank you, Madam President.
Hey, and thank you for every board members for your input. And Mr. Rubel, thank you so much. Mr. Brown, you get paid, so thank you so much. And
so just for
board, you all did understand totally. This is nothing that we're going to reflect. We're going to keep looking at things and seeing what we can do. Patience, encouragement, to seeing we as a board sit down when we have our retreat and reflect and maybe go back and look at some things, but we do not need to rush to give our stakeholders the concept that we are rushing into something.
I have
and
a
we're
question.
not. And
When you
as
get
a
through.
reflection, again, data has spoken. Data has spoken.
So just for my
Data has spoken.
just for my clarity, Madam President, and the board right now just wants to push pause on this altogether.
Yes.
And you want to revisit this, do more work, but revisit it come March.
Yes.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted, those are the options you're discussing. I want to make sure I've got clarity on what direction you'd like to take.
And Ms. Rubel, you'll be called again. Because whatever the board decides, we still have to involve the community in our decision.
But
Ms.
we will.
West has a question.
But
Yes,
what I'm
what you
hearing
want?
is you'd like for us to open the survey
Oh.
back up and
It's-
continue to collect data from our public.
That's a question to the board, but before we answer that.
Well, I think pause that as well, because now that we have some data, we may want to change the survey. I think they were very clear about the parking lot issue. I think we may want to narrow it a little next time. I think so. Give us a little time.
It sounds like, as we do more discussion, the board might want to send out another survey as we get closer to a decision making.
Yes.
Ms. West, you were overlooked. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm used to it. Quick question. What, do you know any type of numbers, or what is the percentage as far as what you would see as far as millages in spring elections versus fall?
Well,
I would like to see something like that.
That would probably be a question for Mr. Beardsley. He's well versed in giving his personal experience with elections in a general election versus a special election versus primary elections. He could probably give you more guidance.
I think he already told us.
He may have addressed that in a previous.
I think his opinion was
He said March elections would have
March
better
election would
results.
be better.
That's the point I was trying to make, but
I
okay.
have one quick question. Because we added email addresses on this survey so that we wouldn't have duplicates, do you think that people who would have said no just didn't participate? Do you think that if we did another survey, maybe we shouldn't have email addresses where it's more anonymous?
I don't know. As I was looking through them, there were very few respondents that weren't involved directly in the North Little Rock School District. They either had children or they were grandparents of children, or they were employees. I mean, I checked around my neighbors who don't have any children in school, and they are all retired. And I had to tell them how to find the survey. They did not have quick access to it.
Ms. Rubel, I have a question there. Sometimes, since a lot of people don't do social media, and you being as astute as you are, what is another means that we have? Because, you know, North Rock consists of senior citizens, and they don't get on social media for anything, and maybe that's how we've missed. I noticed when the Arkansas School Board wants you to do something, they just, teachers are tired of we voting on something. They send it to you in a little letter, well, a little sheet, and you vote on it. And I'm saying, but being in your position, what other means can we use in order to reach people? Because everybody cannot do this. This is why we got to put out these magazines, because they just don't do it.
I mean, even the Arkansas Democrat Gazette now is on an iPad. So I don't have that answer. Just talking to my neighbors, I would direct them to it. Then they all didn't have emails because they just don't. You know, they're elderly and they didn't have an email.
Oh,
So-
could we run a
Just
ad
certainly.
in the paper then about you need to sign up for, put something in the news. It has to go out somewhere to reach everybody.
Well, if it didn't require an email, many that I could have just walked around with my phone and they could have just all answered it. But because we required the email part, that hindered many.
So I think, Ms. Williams, what we can do is, as we continue to discuss this more, we can look into options to target maybe how to get contact with our folks that are marketing, that are
Marketing,
that are
you got to
retired
market.
residents. That there's a whole. We'd be happy to.
Okay, we won't sit here to discuss this. This is something the board needs to discuss later on. Mr. Somebody got
I
their
can
hand
think-
up. I was looking at you.
I can tell you that one thing that we've done is we actually gave Miss Barker, Crystal Barker, our a computer link, but we also gave her a QR code to send out to churches to put in their bulletins, or to, you know, post at their entrances to get their congregations to answer as people came into churches. She was also going to send it out to neighborhood association groups to hopefully circulate that among their neighborhoods. So we did make attempts to get this out to people who not only are in our school community, but people
But it
who
didn't
are.
reach everybody. Okay,
so
that's
we can-
something to vision.
We'll come back and
We'll
discuss
come back
that
on
more.
it.
Sure.
When we
Thank
did,
you.
go ahead.
Yes.
You're first.
May I ask you, Dr. P., to reach out to Lee Tackett, a retired teacher / principal from the 7th and 8th grade campus. And I know she is active with the retired teachers. Valerie and Dorothy both reminded me of this. So can you task her to help spread the word of the need? And I know she can testify, if you will, firsthand of
Sure.
what needs to be done there.
Sure, be happy
But that
to.
way she can help spread the word also. I'm just trying to think of individuals who will assist us in this matter. So
I'll be
Okay.
sure. I'll be happy to reach out.
Marketing. Oh, you the next, Miss McLean, and then Mr. Steele.
I was wondering if we could recall how many responders we had at the beginning of the year when we did the survey about uniforms,
Over 1,000.
and how many were targeted for that survey.
700.
And that was pretty much our parents and guardians were. That one's probably a little bit easier because they're all in our distribution list, which has probably got a higher response rate. I
mean,
would
what
think.
was the population that we targeted? I mean, you're talking about a parent, 2 parents, let's say, for each child. So that was 16,000 people that could have possibly done the survey. And we had teachers do it too.
Yeah, I'd have to go back, and we can go back. But I know it was over 1,000. I want to say about close to 1,200. Mr. Logan, I think, when we looked at that, I mean, it was a high response rate. We can
How
go
much
back and look at
percent
that.
of 16,000 is that? Somebody that
Sure.
knows math.
We can go back and look at some of those response rates.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we need to carefully target leadership. It'll be very difficult. Now it's just us. I mean, we're just one board in this city. When we get to that point where we're all order majority wants to move forward, I mean, we cannot do this, if we're honest, without Chamber of Commerce and the business community. We can't without the local elected officials outside of this board, the legislators, city council, quorum court members. I mean, you have to have that type of reach. The mayor, we have to have those type of leaders in this city involved. And we talk about the teachers. Certainly AEA could play a critical role. We say a lot of the teachers didn't respond. Well, I think AEA, if they support and believe in it, could help a lot with that. So I think when we bring some of the major stakeholders to the table, when we get to that point, that will give us a real indication on moving forward. Not unlike, Madam President, what you guys did last time.
Okay, when the board, we have time, and we'll be getting back. When we have reports, and you always summarize everything so well, Dr. Palutsky, so give us a summation so we can be.
So, yes, so our next steps, based upon the discussion of the board tonight and the options that they have available, the board is pushing pause at the moment. We'll come back, we'll do some workshops, we'll retool some things, we'll keep it on as an ongoing discussion, but in order to make a decision, we'll bring that back to you by, we'll get with Mr. Beardsley on the beginning of the month. I suspect the regular board meeting in March, if I remember correctly, we actually moved because that was in spring break, but that's our March, and we'll keep this dialogue going and then you'll make that decision at that point towards a November election, if that's the board's wish. So, thank you, Ms. Rubel. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Where you get that jacket from?
Mine? Actually, my daughter gave me her hand-me-downs. But I'll find out for you.
Nice.
So, Madam President, members of our Board of Education, we're into the action item, our new business. The first action item is 12.1, employment of personnel. The superintendent recommends the employment of personnel as discussed in executive closed session.
Go ahead.
Madam President, I move that we approve the employment of personnel as discussed in executive closed session.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept the employment of personnel. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
Thank you, Madam President, members of our Board of Education. The next action item is 12.2, the 2024 Solar Eclipse Day, and Mr. Smith is going to give you an overview. Let me give you a higher level overview. You know, there's a solar eclipse which is on April 8th of 2024. I think the last one we had was in 2017. And so as you've also noticed, some local school districts around us in September have shifted this day. It's my understanding from, local officials, they're anticipating a large number of individuals here in Central Arkansas. So basically our recommendation and the work that Mr. Smith is to move that day, have no school on that day, and move the calendar one day at the end, and I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Winning school.
So thank you, Dr. Paluski, members of the board, Madam President. There's basically 3 asks within the adjustment of the calendar. One, it would be for April 8th, which is the eclipse day, to become a no school day. Okay. That learning day would then be tacked on to the end of the year. So we would go through May 30th, which is that Thursday of that last week, instead of May 29th. That would also, because of the no school day on the 8th, would remove our early release day because we would not have a full week of school that week. And so our method for our 100-minute dismissal has been based on a 5-day school week.
And Mr. Smith, you have worked with both LPPC and CPPC, and they unanimously voted on.
Correct. This is the recommendation of LPPC, CPPC, and the administration.
And I would also say, just as a caveat to this, as the parent advisory, we've been talking about this, and I was trying to get their sense. And two things kind of came up that made us push pause. Number one, in my parent advisory group, many of them were saying, I'm just going to pull my kid out of school anyways on this day. And the second thing, that some of the things that we were hearing is that employees were maybe thinking about just calling in sick that day. So that might be a safety issue too, which got to this decision when you don't have enough supervision in the building. So those are some two factors that we also considered in making this recommendation.
Well, I would consider it's already 20 districts have already done this. And we're like on the burning everybody that surround us, but 20 districts already. So we're sort of like, it's up to us to make that decision.
I'm ready to make a motion, but I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at the calendar, and it may have already been discussed, and I may have missed it. But on the snow days, do we have a plan B if we go past the 5?
No, ma'am. So basically, that would have to be discussed with the board in years past before we had AMI days and things of that nature. There were days added to the end of school. Maybe some districts elected to go an hour early and an hour late, making up a school day every 4 days, something like that. And so there would be options at that point. We would discuss it, of course, amongst our executive team, and then we would inform our board and community. Correct, yeah. Shaving days off spring break. I mean, there's...
Maybe some of the early release days.
It might be an option.
If we get into a severe situation because we don't have AMI days, so if we have to have a snow day, now it's going to be a true snow day where, but we're going to have to make up the time now. So we'll cross that bridge if we get past. How many days do we have built in, Mr. Smith?
5.
It's 5.
Thank you, Ms. Sam.
I just happened to see it when I was looking at the solar day. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 2024 solar eclipse day with the revisions to the school calendar.
Second.
With
With the
properly second that the solar eclipse day in 2024, that school will be dismissed on that particular date. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Angela had a
Opposed?
question.
Call for the question.
Angela had a question.
Angela?
So on this particular day, like what is it supposed to just be like dark all day? Like
So
what are they predicting?
we are in the band where it is a total 100% solar eclipse. There's an expectation of there being over 1 million people in the state during this time. The eclipse is supposed to happen about 1:30 in the afternoon, which one of the discussions that was had as well is transportation for our children. So roads being blocked, people trying to get back home, get back to hotels, things of that nature, be an experience. So, but yes, North Little Rock is right in the band of 100%.
Right.
Gotcha.
And you need the eclipse glasses in order to see it. Is that
Yeah.
my understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
They're selling the glasses now for those.
Ms. Temple.
Yeah, and just a comment, we're looking at, just because we're looking at calendars, I know that we did a survey about the different calendar options, and year-round school was really high on that, and I thought we might be readdressing that at some point. I'm just throwing that out there.
We're having active conversations in both PPCs right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Now call for the motion. All right.
Call for the
No, we had
question.
the second.
We voted.
We already voted.
You just didn't declare it approved.
But she came in, the question came in before we
Yeah.
completed the motion.
That's the motion, but I thought you didn't vote because she had a
'Cause
question.
she had the question.
We'll just redo it for
Yeah.
sake.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 2024 solar eclipse day and the revisions to the calendar.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept 12.2 2024 solar eclipse date. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
Thank you, Madam President, members of our Board of Education. We'll make sure that we communicate that early to our parents. Okay, moving right along now. Action item 12.3, legal transfer to superintendent. Recommends the legal transfer presented.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the legal transfer.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept 12.3 legal transfer. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. So the motion is carried.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the disposition of minutes from October 19th, November 2nd, and November 9th.
Second.
Moved and properly second that we accept the disposition of the regular board meetings and two special board meetings held October 19th, November 2nd, and November 9th. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. So the motion is carried.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda 13.1 bank reconciliation, 13.2 net legal balance worksheet, 13.3 monthly financial reports, 13.4 business office items, 13.5 payment of regular bills, and 13.6 facilities use request.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept policy 13.1 through 13.7. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. So the motion is carried.
I would also like to make a comment on that last one. We just did a facility rental request, and we approved it. That's for the North Little Rock Youth Sports Facility.
Yes.
So there is payment involved in that. There was a parent concerned about payment earlier of using our facilities, so that is standard policy.
Okay. So where's Mr. Brown? So is it all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yep,
all set.
we're
Just wanted the
we'll go
public to
into
realize that that is policy.
14, yeah.
At this time,
14.1.
acknowledgements, starting with you, Ms. McLean.
I don't see Mr. Barnes in here, but I've had time to look at this annual report, and it is awesome. And I wish that we could mail this out and maybe have the survey in there somehow. Put an insert in. I wish we could mail this to every household in the city of North Little Rock because it really tells the story of what's going on in North Little Rock schools. Shout out to Mr. Barnes.
That's a good shot. That's good. That's why we had it printed, because we thought it would be that way. But he didn't mail them to the house. He just kept them online. Ma'am. Okay. Ms. Walker?
Again, just a reminder, father-daughter dance coming up December 5th. That will be held at the high school, and all elementaries should be paying attention to their backpacks because there will be flyers coming out this week. And then again, November 20th to the 24th, next Monday, there will be no one here, so do not send your children. It is Thanksgiving break, and I hope everyone has a safe holiday. And please remember to wash your hands, wash your backpacks, and any coats and mittens that you have already used.
Dr. Redis?
I just want to say to all the administrators, classified, certified, parents, students, the community, have a safe, relaxing Thanksgiving and continue to be a better version of yourself daily.
There you go. Good stuff.
And that was my thought exactly. I cannot believe it's Thanksgiving already. How did that happen? I mean, gosh, okay. And I appreciate everybody, and I hope they have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Ms. West?
I want to give my shout out to Lakewood Elementary for excelling and doing such a good job and pushing up to the beat and being where they were prior to the pandemic. And just encourage the public and parents to make sure that our agendas are always posted ahead of time with the necessary pertinent information attached to it. Feel free to go on there and read before you come to the meeting so you can have all of your information. And our district website is a valuable tool. There's a lot of information on there, so you can educate yourselves before you step in.
Okay, the only thing I would say that all of the schools, for your improvement, thank you very much. If you didn't get an Arkansas Times, you need to get one. It's called Smoking in Schools. It's from the farm to the table. And what it simply meant, That's why Miss Dennis has bringing farm food like pulled pork and briskets to all the schools in the district. And the big article, which is 5 pages, talking about the good North Rock School District, smoking in the school, but they're showing that the beautiful smoker that the North Rock School bought in order to do this pulled pork and the brisket. So a shout out on that part. You all need to read it. And then the other thing, congratulations again to all the schools who are improving, and have a phenomenal Thanksgiving, all of you. Have a good turkey day. If you don't eat turkey, just enjoy yourself. And at this time, with no further ado, Dr. Palou, did you have anything you'd like to say? Acknowledgement, your good board you got?
An award-winning board.
Twist his arm and
I
make
do.
him
I just,
say it.
you know, I just want to thank all of
Wake
our
up the
employees,
brain
number
open.
one, and our students. I know a lot of people are working hard, and just thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for this school board. Everybody's working hard. A special shout out because they never, in my opinion, get enough credit. They're always behind the scenes, and that's my entire executive team. I know I work them all the time, and they deserve so much credit to help support the work that we do in schools. So I also want to give them a special shout out.
Have a blessed vacation, everybody.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we adjourn.
I second it. Second. Oh, it is moved and properly second that we adjourn. All in favor,